Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Real Estate Marketing and Coffee. I'm your host, Ed Troxel, with my lovely co-host, Amanda. Good morning, Amanda.
Good morning.
How is your day going?
Pretty good.
It's
Getting caffeinated, but hey, we're getting started.
I was going to say, and how is the time change going for you? Because I was up at 5 a.m. this morning, which, if anybody knows me, I do not get up at 5 a.m.
Well, I am an early bird, and so I was up at 4:45 this morning. Like, what are we doing?
Okay. I normally
So
will
it's
be.
going great, I guess.
Yeah, I was gonna say I normally am up early around like maybe 6 or
Yeah,
7. But unless I'm traveling, I don't want to be up before 6 a.m. Like that's just not my
me
thing.
either. That's not a good time. It's
No.
nobody should be up. It's a sin.
Yeah, exactly. Welcome everyone. If you're just tuning in to the first time here, this is our second episode of Real Estate Marketing and Coffee. Feel free to drop in the chat anytime. Say hello. Let us know where you're tuning into us from. This show is a limited series that we decided we wanted to start. Amanda and I had worked on a previous project. What did we start with our previous project, Amanda? What was the event that we had recently?
Yeah, so we actually taught a workshop on getting repeat and referral business. So both Ed and I come from two different backgrounds that marry really well together. Ed from the technology and social media and Facebook Live realm, and then myself in the client nurture and follow-up realm. And so we married both of those to kind of give value to agents so that they would be able to create that referral business that they're wanting. So that was our recent project, our little baby.
Yes. And so from there, we decided why not do a live series? So that's where we're here right now, and be able to share pretty much market updates for those who are real estate agents, and then for those who are small business owners and entrepreneurs. We're bringing the best of both worlds, because at the end of the day, we're all business owners.
Yeah.
Even if you're an agent, and we have to learn how to run our business properly online and be able to use the technology that we have available to our benefit and be able to market ourselves, follow up with our clients. And a lot of what Amanda teaches with client care services is stuff that all business owners should be paying attention to and incorporating in their business as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when it comes to this live series, this is really just a talk show. So we're going to be popping on with random information around real estate, business, tech, marketing, and to just have a casual conversation. We have no time limit. Usually it will probably last around 30 minutes. If we have a big conversation, maybe longer. But it's really just to be able to be here as a resource for you, show who we are, what we do. You can connect with us both during the live stream as well as on the replay, as well as on social media, because we're everywhere. So you can always message us anytime.
Yeah, for sure.
And so when we are talking about real estate, and then we'll talk, so let's talk about the real estate thing, Amanda. There was a lot of news going on this week, so it applies to everyone, because even if you're not a real estate agent, you're definitely probably looking into buying a home. Maybe you are a homeowner. So this is some information we'll talk about. Then we'll get into some lighting situation, because I'm not in my normal location. And so
Me either.
Yeah, I wanted to share some tips with you around what I set up here, because it's something that people always ask in terms of how to get their setup going. So Amanda, kick us off with a little bit of news from this week.
Yeah, well, I'm sure everyone in the real estate, and really even outside of the real estate industry, has seen this, but big week for real estate agents and just real estate partners alike. And the announcement that Zillow had, where they're closing their home buying business, which this is huge for quite a few reasons, right? Zillow has been the bane of real estate agents' existence. And also, I mean, very beneficial, right? It's great that you can market your listings and have, Zillow reviews and stuff. So it does have some pros, but there's been a lot of cons with it. And the one that comes to mind, just having been in the real estate world for as long as I have been, is that Zillow Zestimate, right? This is how much your home is worth, and we just put it out with an algorithm, which is great in theory. And an algorithm can't predict current market conditions. And that's really the biggest challenge that Zillow saw this week. Well, the announcement coming was because they saw this when they got into the home buying business, that what they were saying their homes were worth were either far above or far below what actual market value is. So this is why it's so important to work with a vetted and trusted real estate agent, because they are aware of market conditions. And when I say market conditions, I'm talking everything from buying, lending rates, to what your home value is worth. Like this year alone, we've seen a crazy market, right? You know, homes are selling for, I've personally coordinated a few transactions that were $200,000 over list price, which is insane. You know, we've never seen a market like this, and it's wonderful. But for those reasons, Zillow is unable to predict, you know, what's going on. You know, we had a pandemic. They can't, and their algorithm can't account for that. They can't account for supply and demand. And so for those reasons, they closed their home buying business, which is great news for real estate agents, right? And great news for us in the client nurture and marketing realm, because now we have a great touch for our clients. You know, if you need a reason to reach out to your people, now's the time, right?
Yes, and that's so important. We have to remember algorithms, right? Right? There's that A word that we hear across the board, whether you're in real estate or you're on social media, you're going to hear algorithms.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a machine. That's something that's based off of behaviors, and it's putting together what it thinks is the right path for us. And we have to understand that those aren't going to be perfect, and they don't have a human side to it. And so, you know, tying in the social part of things is you still need to show up on social media. I don't care if your organic reach is crap on Facebook. I don't care if you don't like LinkedIn because you just don't use it. Whatever your excuse is for not using the major platforms, which in my opinion, the major ones for our purposes here is going to be Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn.
Yep.
Of course, there's many others out there, but if you're not using those on a regular basis and you're not active on those, you're really missing out. And I really just want to stress that you don't need to worry about the algorithm. What you need to worry about is showing up consistently for your audience.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, that's where social media becomes an incredible tool for you when you're consistent. Like if you're not consistent, you don't get that track record, right? People don't learn what to expect from you. They don't learn. I mean, I'm even guilty of this on my own personal Facebook page. I'll go through quite a few seasons of posting a whole bunch of real estate related stuff or client nurture related stuff. And then it's just my niece or my cat for quite an extended period of time. And then we dip back in. And so people, like, I feel like even my own personal one isn't consistent enough to create that track record of this is a person I can trust about X, Y, and Z topic.
Yeah. And you bring up a good point too. You said a keyword, seasons. So this is something that I also want to stress for everyone is when we hear seasons, we're used to seasons in the real world in terms of our weather for the most part. We are used to seasons when it comes to TV shows, programming on Netflix and Hulu. We're used to those, podcasting. We're used to hearing seasons. And now we actually have to, as the individual, understand that seasons apply to us. It's not just Hollywood producers. It's not just the weather. It applies to us. We're all creators. We have to be these days. And we have to understand that there are seasons in our business where we will be more active than others. Right now, with the real estate, especially, the market's so hot that you may think, I don't need to be posting on social. I'm so busy. I don't have time. No, I'm good. But here's the thing. You're missing out on that consistency, which is going to help you when the market isn't as hot. And trust me, it's going to happen at some point. There's going to be some slowdown. Some parts we're already seeing that, but there's a time and a place for that. And so just understand that even if you're in an quote off season right now with your posting on social specifically, I want you to get in the habit, now that you're here, now that you're watching this, I want you to get in the habit to at least make an effort, bare minimum, once a week, you're showing up on your platforms and providing information.
Yeah. And just like anything, I mean, most real estate agents know this statistic, but I feel like it applies across all industries, right? What you do today, you see results from traditionally in about 90 days. So great that the market is wonderful right now. I think about this often when spring market hits, right? We come out of that winter market where things feel pretty desolate and you don't have nearly as many transactions and people aren't wanting to buy or sell their homes. And, you know, or at least as frequently as they do in spring and summer. Then we hit that spring market and it becomes go time, right? People want to move in the summer. And so then agents stop doing the things that they're willing to do in the winter time when it's a little more off because the market is so hot, which is wonderful. But then that consistency or lack thereof shows up 90 days later. And I'm not saying you get all your leads from social media. I'm not that naive, but
Right.
that consistency will in fact show up 90 days later. And so if you continue to stay consistent, even if it's just one time a week during spring market, that's where you'll see those results really solidify. And I have this issue on the client nurture side all the time where agents want to show up in the down months, but they don't want to show up in the busy months, right? So they want to call their past clients in the winter and say, hey, just checking in, but they don't check in the summer, which is fine in theory, but you have to realize what you're putting your people through. And I don't say that as a harsh negative, but you know, you're going through this roller coaster. What would it look like if you just always showed up? Just consistently always showed up. And that doesn't have to be a phone call every week.
Right.
You might lose more people that way, but when people know what to expect from you, then you become a consistent part of their thought process, right? When they think real estate, they think you because you consistently show up and deliver in that way versus these little highs and lows, right?
Yep. And here's the thing. I love that you brought up, you don't have to call every week, because I feel like there's this whole thing about, we have to have these cold calls or these calls every week, and you don't. That's what I love about social media is that you can show up consistently.
Yeah.
And again, it's not the only thing that you should be doing, right? When we talk about marketing, there are so many things in that ecosystem that work hand in hand, which is why Amanda and I are here today, because she does the client care services and the nurturing there, and I do the tech side of things with the video. And that's how we came together in the beginning, was being able to bridge those worlds together because they're part of that ecosystem. And so you have to understand that when you are showing up on social, people are watching you.
Yeah.
Even if they never comment, like, or share your posts.
They're paying attention.
Yes, they are paying attention. And it's so important for you to do that consistency, because here's the thing. Over 97% of people go online to research a business before they ever connect with them.
For sure. I even do it with restaurants. This is my biggest example when I think about, like, why wouldn't you want to show up on social media? Because I even, like, let's say I'm going downtown with a friend and we want to go out to eat and we're trying to find somewhere great and new that we've never been before. I go to Facebook. I don't go to Google anymore. I go to Facebook first and foremost, because for a few reasons. If you're posting consistently on Facebook, you're probably showing your most recent drink specials or your most recent food specials. People are probably liking and engaging and saying, we have to go to this. And so I see all of that. And by proxy, I naturally then want to go to their restaurant. And it works in default as well, where if I go to your Facebook and you don't have one or there's nothing there, I'm like, is this really a restaurant I want to go to? Like, it feels the same as when you walk by a restaurant and no one's eating there and you're like, I don't know. No one's checking in here. So is this a place I want to go to?
Yes. And you bring up such a great point. I do the same thing, especially when the weekends come around. So when you think about your Facebook business page, because I know so many people are like, oh, I don't like Facebook. My page doesn't get any views, like all those things. Listen, I get it. But switch how you think about your Facebook business page. Understand that it's part of the ecosystem. It literally takes you 2 seconds it literally takes you 2 seconds to check the box on your social media scheduler, or just share the same post from Instagram to Facebook now, because you can do that. Understand though, it's important to include it because it's still the biggest social media network. It's still the place that people go to check in multiple times a day. And as you saw with Amanda's example and what I just shared with you as well, we are still going on there to look for things to do. And I can't tell you how many times when the weekend comes, I'm scrolling and I'm like, okay, I want to try a new place. I want to check something out. What events are going on? Like, that's a whole nother topic we'll have to get into, I'm sure, at some other point. But Facebook events, like, it costs you $0 to post a Facebook event. That takes you maybe 2 minutes to put together. I'll give you 5 if you're really, really wanting to go slow, but probably less than 2 minutes to put a Facebook event together. And Facebook pushes it out to everyone for you for free. Like, you can't do anything better than that. Yeah.
Well, and when I think about posting like that, regardless of view count, to me, that's like a byproduct, right? Getting views, getting that traction. For me, it's like, I literally went to a restaurant the other day that hadn't posted since June. And I was like, we're in COVID. They might be shut down.
Yes.
Right. I was like, they might not be here. And like, let's take real estate as a great example. If the last time you posted was June, I'm going to think you haven't done business since June.
Yes. Great.
Which may or may not be true. You might have been so busy since June that you haven't had time, I'll give you your excuse if you want. You haven't had time to post on social media. But how does that look to your clientele? I don't ever look and say, okay, this drink special from this new restaurant has 100 likes on it and 200 comments. The drink must be good. I just look to see that there's a post and I'm like, oh, good. Okay, post, I can go. This restaurant is open and ready for me to come. Got it. Like it's building that track record. Like, think of how it looks to your clientele if you're not posting. And it doesn't even have to be complicated. Like, for our Closer Pros page, like, we're pretty big on just being authentically who we are. And so we're not going to rip off and duplicate if it doesn't feel authentic to us. And 90% of the time, our posts are just really cool quotes that we found encouraging.
Yeah.
And are we going to build a social media basis? Absolutely. We're going to continue to build that track record. And it can be that simple. It can be as simple as Christina or I going on Pinterest every night, finding a quote that inspires us and posting it. Because it builds that track record. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. It doesn't have to be this long, drawn out thing. But the biggest thing I'll say is make it authentic to you. If you are not someone who wants to share all this, here's my market update, then don't do it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, now we're kind of getting into the live part of things, the live streaming stuff.
Your heart and soul.
Yes. Yes. Which is so weird because, and I don't know if you know this, but because I probably have told you this, but I'm not sure. But when I started my business, I was the guy behind the camera. So getting me in front of the camera was not happening. Like, I didn't want to do it. And I didn't like hearing myself on video. I didn't like seeing myself on video. I kid you not. I was fearful of it. And
me too.
I had to obviously do a lot of work, and that's how we got here. But live streaming is a game changer. And here's why. Because, I'll start off with this text that I got from one of my real estate agent friends. He had just mentioned that he got, because we just did a quick check-in the other day, and he has been doing a lot of videos, most of which, if not all of them, have been live streams, which has been amazing. He had said, I got a listing, completed 2 rental leases, working with 4 buyers without a single cold call.
It's awesome.
Now, I know that he's probably got some other things happening because, again, we're talking about an ecosystem, right? But because I know him and I've seen what he's been doing on social media, he's been killing it with video. Yeah. And it's not some fancy setup. It may be in some episodes. I call every video an episode, by the way. But it's not always. He'll be out on the streets with his phone showing off, the home that he's going to be at the open house, or that new listing is over here. And that's what I want to encourage all of you watching, whether you're an agent, an entrepreneur, a small business owner, heck, a nonprofit, like whatever you're doing, it's most likely a business because you're watching us and you're tuning in, which we appreciate. And you can share this out, of course. But you have the tool right in your hand. It's literally in your hand or in your pocket or on the dashboard in the car if you're watching from there.
So easy.
All you have to do, and I say this in the simplest way because let me just back up and say, because this is my job, that it's not always going to be as simple as just go live.
Yeah.
But given this purpose and the time that we have, I'm going to say you just have to go live.
Yeah.
Understand it's more it can be more complex, but it's something that you can do for yourself, and it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be scripted. It just has to be you showing up as yourself, like you
Yeah.
said, authentically you, and being able to share what's going on. And I noticed another agent, because I follow a lot of agents on Instagram, especially, and it is awesome to see what people are posting, because many do the just listed or the just sold. That's fine. I mean, again, you're creating posts and you're
Yeah.
where, but we're always trying to figure out, like, how can we market a little differently? How can we stand out? And for a lot of agents, they do the market updates via a video.
Yeah.
And one that popped up this week, which I thought was really awesome, is that she still did her market update video, but in the video, she said, there's not a whole lot of change that happened this week. And then she carried on. But the point is that she still did the video.
Even though there's no change.
Thank you.
People don't know that.
Yes.
Week to week, there could be so much shift and they have no idea. And it goes back to, your marketing values that you have, Ed, is show up, engage, and repeat. And I love that because I think that makes marketing so simple. All you have to do is show up. It doesn't have to be perfect. And quite frankly, if I could tell anybody anything, make it not perfect. Make it super imperfect, because the reason is you become so relatable. I was a communication major in college and I battled this my whole college career. I wanted every single speech I delivered to be flawless.
Yeah.
And that's when I got more in my head and my speeches were horrible. Those are the times that, like, when I would show up and try to make them exactly as I had written them, I would get in my head. But when I just could know the content and then speak from the heart, they were imperfect, but they were relatable. They were me. They were authentic. My pitch and my tone and my everything, my cadence, all of that were authentic to me. It was exactly how I would show up on a phone call with you. It felt the same. And I think about that so often, as people want it to be so perfect. And really, like you, if I could tell them anything, it would just be to just show up and do it, right? You don't have to have this big, long 30-minute episode like Ed and I are having now. You can literally just be like, hey, out here at an open house, if you're curious, come stop by. Or, I was just on a walk and I had this thought about real estate and figured I'd share it with you. Or I was just meeting with a client, and how cool is this? Like, this is their home and they've lived in it for 20 years. How many of you have been in your house for 20 years? Like, it can be that simple and that quick and easy to make engagement. And you can't really mess that up,
And that's the beauty of it. Live streaming has given us the permission to be ourselves and to not worry about what video and video production in the past has been made out to be. Like, there's still a time and a place for that setup and what you want, but it's not your day-to-day setup that you need anymore. And that's the beauty of it. And I will tell you, this weekend, I had posted a Instagram reel, and
is this your dancing one?
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yes, it was the dancing one. And let me just tell you, I kid you not, it got over 3,300 views, and it's the top performing Instagram reel that I had. Now, I'm not saying that as in, like, I just went viral and I'm getting a ton of business from it. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that it was the best performing post because it was me enjoying myself and just being my goofy self and enjoying music on a Saturday night. Like, that is what people want to see. No,
here's a cool thing. How does that relate? Like, this is my biggest kryptonite in talking to real estate agents about marketing, is because they think every post has to be about real estate. But I love what you're proving right here, is because your business is surrounding social media marketing, Facebook Live, and teaching people how to do that effectively. Now, your video of you dancing inherently has nothing to do with that.
Right.
And yet it's still, but how many people are like, I like this Ed guy, let me keep scrolling, And it
Exactly.
it makes you so relatable where they're like, "Hey, I like to dance. That's cool. Let me dance with Ed," right? Like
Yes.
it's that simple. Like it not every post you have has to be about real estate or has to be about your business or has to be about anything like that. You can literally be like, I'm out here at my kids' soccer games. How many of you hate the cold seasons in the Pacific Northwest? It's
Yes.
40 degrees and it's pouring down rain and I'm here at football practice. Here we are, like it
Yeah.
can be that relatable and simple and easy.
It's so true, and that's the point of social media and being able to use live streaming. It's so awesome because you're able to embrace what makes you unique and
Yeah.
share that with others and understand that that's where you start to stand out
Mhm.
from all the other agents and business owners. And
Yeah.
here here's here's a little secret or note that when you start showing up on video,
Mhm.
it almost doesn't matter what you say or
Yep.
do. The fact that someone is seeing you on video and they're not doing it,
Yeah.
you just inspired them.
Absolutely.
That's the biggest thing that I can tell you from my video journey and just being live is that I get
Mhm.
so many people who are constantly watching. They may never ever engage with my stuff,
Yeah.
but randomly will send me a message and just say, I love what you're doing. I've been watching you from day one, or whatever it is, and you're inspiring them. And
And
that
that's what it's
will,
all about, man. Like
yes,
business aside, that to me, business is just a byproduct of it. I'd rather inspire people and give them something to look forward to, make them smile. Like something like that would make my day much more than getting a business referral.
well, and that's the thing. If you put in the work and you understand
Yep.
that 90 days that you talked about in the beginning
Mhm.
typically is what happens with the work that we put in now. If you understand that and you know that the work you're doing now
Yeah.
and being able to show up consistently as you are with your business, with your
Mhm.
life, whatever it is, that will pay off because just because Sally, who you inspire, doesn't buy from you, doesn't mean
Yeah.
that her friends at the family gathering or at the picnic or whatever aren't going to hear about you. Because I can
Exactly.
guarantee you it will get out. That happened with the dancing video. One of
Yeah.
my friends, she posted that to her stories and she said, "This is why I like this guy." And so now her audience
Yeah.
sees me and then they're going to click onto my profile and be like, "Who
Mhm.
is this guy?" Like, "Oh, okay, he does okay, maybe I should start
Yeah.
following him." Like that's how it
Exactly.
works.
Well, and it's that simple, right? You don't have to have a specific time to show up or a specific topic or anything. If you just show up, like, and
Yes.
and to me, showing up is purely the bare minimum, right? Like, I'm
Yeah.
just here, right? Like, here's the bar. We're just here, like we're present. If you just simply show up, that all of those results come naturally. There's no perfect or magical formula for when to show up, how to show up, what to say,
Yeah.
but just showing up and engaging with your people will always. This is what I tell my client care agents. I'm like, hey, just show up, just be present in their life, just check in. You don't have to call and say Happy New Year, I wanted to see if you wanted a CMA. You can simply just call and say, hey, I'm just checking in on behalf of so and so, like just want to see how you're doing.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I would say that if I were calling, but if I'm telling an agent, you just call and check in. Hey, I'm
Yep.
just checking in, how you doing, what do you need? Doesn't have to be about the house. Do you need
Yeah.
anything? And you show up, bare minimum, right? You show up, and by proxy, that's different because most people, I talked about this in our class, have what I call the used car salesman mentality when they sell a product or anything. And it's where basically they sell something, and because in their head they put in all this work, all this time, all this effort and energy, and they think they delivered 5-star service. And they probably did, or at least delivered good service, we can hope.
Yeah.
And
Fingers
they
crossed.
expect that because they did this one time, that when you think of buying a car again, you're going to think of this person. Now, I use
Yes.
this example in our class. I have no clue if my car salesman was a man, woman. I don't know their name. I can just tell you I bought it at Honda. I bought my
Right.
Honda CRV at Honda.
Yep.
So, there's a ton of Honda dealerships. I don't even know I could tell you the exact Honda dealership I went to, right? And so many times we think this, but you have to show up
Yep.
so that people think of you, they think of your name, and there's no perfect algorithm for it. It just is. Just show up. It's that simple.
And I want to say, you're just so good at this, Amanda, because before the show, I told Amanda, okay, I want to make sure that I cover best times posting, because that was what I put in the description of this. And we'll wrap up the episode here in just a few minutes. But I told Amanda, like, oh, I want to make sure I talk about best times. And you just perfectly segued into that. Of course, I messed it up with just talking about this, but you did a great job on talking about there are no best times. And let me just reflect on that for a second, because one question that I get asked a lot from business owners and agents is, when's the best time to post? Bring it in, everyone. So
lean in real close.
Yeah, real close. You know, we got good lighting today, so you can't really see what's going on.
Ed has good lighting.
But we'll do that as our wrap up here. I'll show you the little setup that I got, so you guys can pick up on this trick here. But when we're talking about best times, you're going to see articles, you're going to hear things from people, you know, Tuesdays at 3 p.m. are the best times to post on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and Twitter and whatever. Use that as a guide, but don't rely on that. What I want you to rely on, and when the real best time to post is, when you actually can post.
Yep.
Because here's the thing, if you do not schedule your own time to create your post and to do this, it doesn't matter what I or anybody else tells you is the quote best time to post, because if you can't even post, what does it matter if I say Tuesdays at 3 p.m. if Tuesdays at 3 p.m. you're booked? Like, that's just not going to happen, and you don't want to use a scheduler or, you know, whatever the case may be. So start with your schedule and when you can post, and then worry about the other times later, because you can look at data once you start doing this regularly for your own account, and that can help with it. And then you can also understand that just like you set your own hours for your work schedule for the most part. Well, guess what? You can set your own times for posting. Just like for us.
People learn when you post. Like, I think of Christina Jiggles, our CEO at Closer Pros, all the time, because she does her own little live show, and it's sporadic, called the Jiggle Show. And sometimes it's every Tuesday, and sometimes it's like once every 3 months. But she shows up, and sometimes it's 2 p.m., sometimes it's 8 p.m., sometimes it's 10 p.m., sometimes it's right in the morning, right? Yeah. But people grow to expect it. And so they see it and they're like, oh, Jiggle Show. Like, they're not like, it's Tuesday at 8. Where's the Jiggle Show?
Yep.
Because they realize it's whenever she pops on is when it is, right?
Yes. And that's the thing. Everyone's going to be different. You know, with us in this show, we wanted to, that's why I say it's a limited series, because we started out with the idea of, let's just do this. And we were going to start, we started last week. Amanda wasn't here because she was.
My picture was here.
Yes. Amanda's picture was here. We still had her in spirit. Now that I'm thinking about it, no, I was like, maybe I wore this shirt last week, but no, I didn't.
Hey, you can just make it a thing. We'll have the same outfit each week. It'll be great.
But, you know, we decided, let's start it in November. Let's carry this on through the end of the year as best we can. And for us, we set the schedule Mondays at 8 a.m. Pacific, because we needed a schedule and we wanted to be able to have that time where it gets us in the position. So understand that you have that control. You just need to do it.
Yeah. That's simple.
So anyway, before we wrap up, Amanda, do you have any last things that you want to say before I show this little lighting trick that I got going, and then we'll kind of call it for today's episode?
Yeah. The only thing I'll say is just do it. Don't get in your head about it. Just do it. Because for me, like, going live, and I'm talking about like posting and everything, like, just do it. Don't overthink it. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't think you need this long drawn out system to start. Just start where you're at and build upon it, right? Make a foundation, do what you're willing to do consistently, but don't get in your head. Because when I started going live, I used to get in my head about it. I wanted it to be flawless. And really a lot of that has gone away the more I've done it, right? Now I don't care. I'm like, I might look crazy and I might look like I just woke up, and I don't care. I'm still showing up and I'm just doing it and I'm being me. And that's all that really matters, right? Is we're being ourselves, and that's authentic, and that's all you can ask for. So just get out of your head.
I love it. So before we let you go, I want to show you this lighting trick, because I'm not in my normal location, and actually, I don't use during my lives, most of them, unless they're super late, I don't actually use a light either. I have windows in front of me, but I'm in a different location. And I thought, where am I going to get the best lighting here? And
Yeah.
I'm also using my computer camera versus my nice professional camera, which I normally am on. So I thought this would be a perfect example to show you that you can use what you have. Most of you are probably going to use your phone when you're going live. So that's fine, but we're on a computer today. And so I just wanted to show you how I have this set up. So right now, I'm actually going to flip the camera to show you that I'm in front of a window with the light coming in. And then here is a ledge that's slightly higher so that I'm at eye level with you, versus if this was on a table, this is probably what we'd be looking at. Now, of course, I can flip this up like that, but I'm still not comfortable and not looking there correctly. Yeah. So when you're using a device, whether it's your phone or your computer, try to get at an angle where you can look directly at the camera. And I will also say I typically stand, but today I was sitting because of where I'm at and what I'm doing. But that's how I got the lighting just directly here. And it's not so sharp. Like if I did this, not going to work, right?
Yep.
But here it bounces nicely, so it makes you look
professional.
Yeah, yeah, presentable. It makes you look better on these webcams, which most of these computers don't have a really good camera in there. Which I say that because a lot of you might be intimidated to be on camera because the camera is not good. And so how can you make that feel and look better? You get some lights and just make it pop, you know. And like with Amanda, I love your warm lighting. Like,
well, that's funny because I do not love it.
Well, and that's the thing. I know we talked about that before we started, but it still has a nice warm glow to it versus something super dark or again,
that's
super bright, right? Like there's
it's
still
not distracting.
Exactly. It's just got a nice little glow to it. So, you know, lighting, it's funny. I never went to art school and I never did the whole lighting situation, but I'm fascinated with lighting. So there's that fun fact.
I love it.
Anyway, we hope that you enjoyed this episode. We will be back next Monday at 8 a.m. Pacific. You can reach out to us anytime on social. If you have any questions, feel free to share them with us and we'll try to cover them on the next episode. And yeah, we just hope that you enjoyed, and we'll bring some more updates and tech talk and marketing talk and
all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah, to you all next week. And Amanda, if you got anything else, otherwise we are going to end this. All right.
All right.
Take care, everyone. We'll see you next week.